Hello and welcome to this week's edition of the Big Rican Sports Podcast. I am your host. I'm the Big Rican. Today is Thursday, or as I like to call it, my Friday for the next 10 days. August 20th, 2020, and we are here live on the Big Rican YouTube channel. Going to record this also, put it up on all the podcast stuff too. We got a very special weekend, which is a little tempered now because of everything going on. But it is Subway Series weekend. The only reason there should be interleague play ever, as the New York Mets take on the New York Yankees. Hopefully 2 out of the 3 games originally scheduled. If not, maybe we'll have some of those crosstown doubleheaders. I promised a Yankee fan on the episode tonight, and boy, am I going to go in a Wayback Machine to find one of those. I've actually known this gentleman since elementary school, and I'm old. He is currently the manager of the NCG Cinema in Kingston, New York. He is a former teammate of mine here in Little League, which again, long time ago. Jason, bring me in and losing me again because tech savvy.
Gotcha.
Jay, welcome to Big Weekend. How you doing?
I've been very well. Thank you for having me.
Anytime. As you can see, I promised a Yankee fan, and I have one. For as long as I've known this man, which, by the way, that's got to be pushing at least 30-some-odd years now.
It's getting up there. It's definitely getting up there.
This has been a bone of contention for 30-some-odd years. Of course, at the beginning of it, the Mets were good. Then I moved to Ohio when the Yankees were really good, and now that we have...
Were they, though? I mean...
I don't know. Don't start. We're not even halfway into this thing, and you're going. So, like we were talking about before we jumped on, of course, now we have tonight's Met game and tomorrow's game postponed because of a player and a staff member have tested positive for corona. So first things first, get better. Obviously, that's absolutely the most important thing. So let's get into the rest of the weekend. So now we're going to move that awesome pitching matchup of Rick Porcello and Jay Happ to game 2.
Oof.
I know. When you and I are arguing over who the best pitcher in the game is, and it's all my ace against yours, we get to talk about Rick Porcello and Jay Happ.
Porcello and Happ, yeah.
So here's my question. You guys go, it's Happ on Saturday. I know we're going Porcello, and then actually, I take that back. We are probably going Seth Lugo on tomorrow or on Saturday. Yeah, they're moving into the rotation because Matz doesn't know what he's doing for some reason. Stroman opted out. Syndergaard had Tommy John. I mean, the Mets pitching is falling apart like the Yankees' offense is.
Well, I mean, in all fairness, I mean, the Mets pitching staff is pretty much going through what the Yankees' offense is going. No one can get on the field, or when they get there. In LeMahieu's case, they swing too hard and they're out for 10 days. It comes down to depth. At least with the Yankees' offense, you can put maybe a B- level major league, team on the field, but Porcello, Gazelman, and Oswalt. That's I don't know if that's exactly.
Listen, it's not the Flushing 4 we had last summer with Stroman, Wheeler, and DeGrom. Yeah. What it is, but you see, here's the thing: Porcello's been good his last couple of starts.
Yeah.
He's doing the thing the Red Sox didn't want him to do, which he's throwing the 2-seamer down in the zone, lots of movement, playing off the slider. Unfortunately, it seems when Porcello and DeGrom pitch, the Mets don't know how to hit.
Right.
And when everybody else pitches, they have an offense.
Right.
So we need to find that balance. We haven't found it yet.
Yeah, I mean, the one thing, you never go into a series in Flushing worrying about the hitters for whatever reason.
That's historically too.
Yeah. And especially with Cespedes going out and, not really knowing where that big hit's going to come from. Kind of what happened in the Bronx the last 3 days. It's but Tampa's pitching always, for whatever reason, just as filthy when they play the Yankees.
Yeah, I was saying to my mother-in-law, who's a big Yankee fan who lives with us. She's actually in her room now because I kind of clear everybody out.
Right.
But I said the same thing today. I said, "Wow, Tampa, they're just scrappy. That's all they are." And
They're
all
9-1. They're 9-1 in the last 10 games. I mean, they've been absolutely ridiculous. And I think it's going to bite them come playoff time. But Kevin Cash just keeps throwing pitchers at you. He'll use 7 pitchers a game.
The thing about that is it may hurt them playoff time, but you got to think of it this way too. They're that deep; they can go 7 a game and win 9 out of 10.
True, but I mean, if you're using all those bullets, and I understand there's only 60 games, so maybe it's not going to affect them that much. But well, anyway, get back to your point about what's going on in the Mets, and I'll figure out what's going on with the Yankees to counter it later. But so you don't think they're going to throw a doubleheader at us, or?
They're going to.
Okay.
And listen, it could be one of those like the late 90s, early 2000s where we do one game in Flushing and one game in the Bronx.
So you don't think it'll be this weekend, a doubleheader?
I don't know, because they play this weekend and next.
Right,
so
yeah.
I don't know. There's an off day next Monday. I don't think they're going to curl that into I don't think they're going to do Saturday, Sunday, Monday, because I think the Yankees play Monday.
No, the Yankees are off Monday and Thursday.
How the hell they manage that?
I don't know. They got a 2-game set in Atlanta after what was going to be the 3-game set. So I mean, Monday is available, and I don't know what you guys are doing on Thursday.
We got the Marlins again.
Okay, so I mean Monday's an off day, so maybe. But, we'll have to see how they decide to do it.
Yeah, I hope with this time off we get Cole and DeGrom next weekend. I mean, I'm itching for a pitcher's duel.
That you're going to break some radar guns with that. That's because as even though he hasn't won his last 2 starts, I mean Cole has just been filthy. He's constantly 97, 98. His knuckle curve hasn't really come on yet, but his slider has been his slider's coming in at 86, which is just not fair. And he's got that old school mentality that I know you love as a pitcher, that he just give me the ball, I want to go out. No, I don't care if I have 100 pitches, I got a few more in the tank.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. That's why I like Garrett Cole. I know you and I talked about it. I still think the best thing that happened to him was his first year in pinstripes. No fans.
Right. Some guys are really thriving on that right now. I mean, when we talk a little bit about the offense, that I'll get more into that. But Cole seems to be someone who's just living it right now. A lot of the bullpen guys, even though, like I said, the last couple of days haven't been all that great, but it just seems that there's an extra level of calm with them, to not have to deal with all the pressure and everything. And that's why I think I've gotten into some discussions online. The Yankees, I don't think really care if they finish first or not, because there's no incentive because of the lack of fans.
Yeah, well, that too, but also with the 8 teams, you just got to get in the dance.
Right. And
you just got to get in the dance.
Right, and what is it, a 5-game series? Is that?
I think it's 3-5-7-7.
3-5-7-7. I mean, in a 3-game series, I'll take Cole and Tanaka against almost anybody.
Yeah.
Just like if things had worked better, DeGrom and Stroman would have been, a great 2 bullets to have, or DeGrom and Matz, are a great couple bullets to have in that gun. So
agreed. And if you were talking about Garrett Cole's slider being filthy, DeGrom throws his at 93.
See, that's dangerous. Yeah, well, we've talked about this before. I just think that's dangerous. I mean,
for injury concerns, or the fact that he throws a slider at 93 and his fastball at 99.
Injury concerns. I mean, how many of those pitchers that learned that power slider have gone under the knife now?
A lot of them.
Yeah, Harvey went under. Although, how good did he look the other day?
First of all, he gave him 2 home runs in 1 inning, and the Mets actually broke in to show him pitch a little bit last night. He was hitting 95 on the gun.
Right. He hasn't done that since what? In 4 years?
15.
Yeah. But
we actually saw him pitch in Cleveland in 2016. We went out. I took my father all 3 games out in Cleveland. And yes, I wore the Batman stuff to Harvey Stark. My wife actually went to that game and let me do it.
nice.
But I wore it, and I tell you what, he did not look right.
Yeah.
I think the last time we saw him throw that hard consistently was Game 5 of the World Series.
Right.
So.
And by the way, I don't blame him for that loss. I don't know if we've ever had this discussion.
You send him out 100 times out of 100.
What's that?
You send him to the mound to 100
Absolutely.
times out of 100.
Absolutely, but when he gives up that first hit, then you yank him, in my opinion.
Agreed.
Yes, you don't let him stay out there for that extra hitter. You
also don't call a 3-2 slider when you're throwing 97 in the 9th inning.
Okay. There, I probably agree with you. That's probably not his call, but I always feel that that was Terry, right? That was Terry Collins.
Yeah.
Yeah, one batter too many. He should have been with the way that that bullpen was throwing gas at that time. Let him have his one hitter. If he doesn't get him out, okay, you had your shots.
They had Familia ready.
That's it. And hindsight 2020, we'll never know. But anyway,
I'd have a hat that says World Series champions, not one that says just World Series on the side from 2015.
Right. And we don't know how the rest of that series would have played out, obviously. But
going back to Kansas City, you had DeGrom and Syndergaard in 6-7.
Yeah, I like my chances.
And Johnny Holstaff in Game 7 with the rest of them, and Bartolo Colon.
Right. So, but getting back to what I was saying, I mean, Harvey's gone down, Syndergaard's gone down. How many relievers have gone down because of that power slider?
Mm-hmm.
And, I mean, you were a pitcher. The human arm is just not designed to do that.
It's not.
Or at least the elbow isn't. I mean, DeGrom's the best pitcher in baseball without question. I always get into arguments with Rob, about he always likes to tease me that, how's it feel having the second best pitcher in New York? And I'm like, hey, it's fine because, would you rather have, 5 Cy Youngs or 1 World Series ring? So
that's true. I would listen. It's been 34 years.
Yeah.
And
yeah,
we get
I'm kidding.
We get nightly reminders of that team with Darling and Hernandez in the booth, who, by the way, if you could just watch them once, they are hilarious.
No, I catch them from time to time.
Because Hernandez is off the rails because there's no fans or nothing. He don't care.
Yeah, he has lost all of his.
The filter is gone.
He's lost all of his whats.
Yeah. Zero are given. Every
and I don't know why, but hey, I guess his job is secure. I get to see Cohen O'Neill every broadcast, and that's pretty fun. I mean, Cohen is kind of your analytic nerd nowadays, and
Darling,
and O'Neill is just, he's in his, he's in his basement in Cincinnati, and just
is he really?
Yes. And the last couple games, he's just been going into his closet, bringing out memorabilia, and just he's completely off the rails. But anyway, but I just think that DeGrom, he doesn't have to throw the slider 93. I mean,
no, he doesn't. Here's the thing, though. The one thing I will say about him, Thor is you can tell it's full bore. You can tell it's full effort.
Right.
DeGrom does not look that way.
This is true.
Even Cole looks full effort. DeGrom is very fluid. he is so mechanically sound. And like you said, I was a pitcher. It's what I study. As a matter of fact, I'm going to spend the next couple of weeks breaking down my godson's mechanics because his coach has tipped me off.
Down and drive, my friend. Down and drive.
Straight leg in the front. Throw from your ear. He's not a catcher.
Yeah.
So DeGrom is all those things. He is down and drive.
Right.
He is, I mean, the front leg being straight, I guess if you're, I don't know. I don't like it personally, but listen, the guy had TJ years ago.
Mm-hmm.
He's a converted shortstop. The thing about DeGrom is he doesn't have a lot of innings on his arm.
Yeah.
They were talking about that last night, is that because his velocity has gotten higher and higher as he's gotten older. So you think about the wear and tear.
Right.
From the time I started pitching exclusively at 13. I got hurt at 17.
Yeah.
But if I hadn't gotten hurt and would have kept going, and God willing would have been able to wear that NY one day, how many innings would I have thrown by the time I made my debut?
Right.
23, 24.
Right.
So
especially playing college ball. I mean.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. So I'll be honest with you, Jay, with the way the two teams are constructed right now, I think we're going to get a 3-game split, each one.
Well, I mean,
we'll win 2 at your house, we'll win 2 at ours.
It would be nice to see. I mean, like I said, we took a terrible beating from Tampa, and not having LeMahieu absolutely killed us. I mean, it absolutely destroyed us. Is he the best hitter? He's the best pure hitter on the team. I mean, he's batting .430.
Yeah.
He hits to all fields. He's a classical hitter.
Mm-hmm.
Occasionally he puts one over the fence, but that's not his game. He sets the table, and you can't use predetermined outcomes. But how many of those void home runs that he's hit over the last 5 games would have been 2-run shots possibly if LeMahieu was there?
That's true.
And at least we get Judge back on Saturday, and that lengthens the lineup significantly. But not having DJ there, just it's just such a you feel it, because there's very few better leadoff hitters in baseball right now. And I know you like to have the speedster in the top of the lineup, and I know DJ LeMahieu runs about as well as Olerud used to, but
a John Olerud comment. Wow.
He is slow. I have seen him hit line drives that people drop and bobble, and he's thrown out by 3 feet. I don't know how he's an infielder, but
he's Jeff Kent.
I guess. Jeff Kent was a little stronger, but just not having him there probably killed the whole 3-game set. And there's a lot of criticism of Aaron Boone online right now. And he sometimes goes a little too deep into the analytics. I grant you, but they're 15-3 against the rest of baseball right now. They just cannot beat the Rays right now. Maybe that changes because the Rays cannot hit for power except occasionally against the Yankees. So we'll have to. But again, 9-1 in 10 games. I mean, that's
especially this year when it's going
and all on the road. That's the other thing.
9-1 in 10 games this year is going 17 22-5 in 27.
Right. It's like that Oakland streak back in the Moneyball days. I mean, it's
or the Indians a couple years ago.
Right. However you want to look at it.
So let me get into your concerns for your boys moving forward. Let me jump into mine real quick.
Sure.
The fact that the bullpen can't get out of its own GD way so far, and we have to move Seth Lugo to the rotation because you cannot be throwing these guys 7 innings a night when Matz can't get out of the third. And I mean, as much as you took a shot at him today on Facebook, Oswalt looked pretty good the other night.
Did he?
He did. I want to say he went into the 6th the other night, and something he didn't have 2 years ago when he was up, that mid-90s fastball wasn't straight as a string. It had movement on it.
Mm-hmm.
He was bringing it back over the outside corner of the righties. He looked great. What happened with everybody except your top-tier guy, You get to that third time around the lineup, and
Right.
you start getting hit around.
Right.
So for the Mets, injuries obviously, because now we got the COVID thing happening. McNeil is not right after hitting the wall a few weeks ago or a few days ago. But I absolutely love Alonso's coming along. Cano is just unheard of right now. Do you know Brandon Nimmo has nearly a 475 on base percentage?
That's pretty strong for him.
And he's hitting leadoff. And I tell you what, this week in Miami, he went nuts.
Yeah.
Almost hit for the cycle the other night. He's 2 triples in 2 days.
Wow.
I mean, he's been outstanding. The lineup isn't my concern. It's the bullpen can't get out of the way. Like I said, Edwin Diaz has been sent here to destroy us.
Well, the funny thing is, I know it hasn't worked out, but you still make that trade 9 times out of 10. I mean,
agreed. Oh no, I make the deal, especially considering Philly was the one that was in on him.
Right.
So outside of injuries, because that's unfortunately the last couple of years with the Yankees, that's been your only real concern. Yeah. Outside of injuries, what is your concern moving forward for this team?
Well, I mean, the one thing, I mean, the injury thing, I'm just going to touch on it because of something that Michael Kay said, or right when this whole thing started. Maybe the problem is, and for every team, not just my team or your team, maybe 3 weeks wasn't enough time. I mean, maybe that's why all these things are happening. Maybe not. Maybe not with Judge because when you're that big, it's just so hard to stay healthy. You look at the NBA and all their big guys, and they're always banged up.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, and apparently Layla wants a piece of this here.
I got one here in front of me.
Right.
Oliver and Luna, the kitten, are off somewhere arguing.
Right.
And the older one, the Harley, who looks like an actual bobcat, size-wise,
right,
with my mother-in-law. So
right, so
just you on here too.
Just ignore the feline tail.
You're good.
Tail, so don't worry about that. But so that's one of it. I'm not too worried about the rotation. Tanaka, Cole is going to be Cole. I'm not worried about Cole. He hasn't lost in almost a year now. I'm not worried about Tanaka. He's going to be fine. I know he got knocked around the other day.
He's always had a hard time with Tampa, though, too, right?
Right, yeah. Paxton looked really good today until he got to around 80 pitches. So with him, he's just building strength. He had a no-hitter through 4 2/3 today. So he's
good.
Yeah, his velocity's still down. So again, I think it's just strengthening and conditioning. After that, Happ isn't the worst pitcher on the planet. It's hard to judge because it was against Boston, but he had a really good outing his last time out.
That brought you a lot of joy to say that, didn't it?
Boston's terrible.
Yeah, I know.
They are the worst team in the.
We only split with them.
I almost feel bad.
I don't.
Almost, but not quite. But almost. And Montgomery's looked pretty good. So I'm not too worried about that. The Chapman just came back, and I know Britton just went down with a hammy. That's a fluke. A hamstring can happen to anyone.
Yeah.
I blew out my hamstring playing baseball 10 years ago, so on nothing. I was running out of ground ball, and it just felt like a rubber band, just stretching, and then so I'm not too worried about the bullpen. It's just the problem is, if any of these guys go into a slump, usually you have 162 games. Now you have 30.
Yeah, we're just about to the halfway point.
Right. We're going to be at the halfway point next week. And Glaber was just starting to get out of it. Now he might be hurt. Sanchez, who knows? But all in all, I'm really not worried about the team at all. It's just they've looked really bad against one team.
Yeah.
You know, they dominated Atlanta, and Atlanta has looked great. They knocked around Boston. Not that that's hard to do.
No.
You know, they played okay against Philly. Philly's awfully good, though. You know, all of a sudden,
I would disagree with you. I don't. Philly may have swept the Mets. The Mets didn't hit. Philly's bullpen is not good at all.
I agree.
Hector Neris is very easy to get to, and the guys leading up to him are holy cow.
Yeah, but I mean, they have enough bats where, you know, it
Not
shouldn't.
to overcome an 8.9 ERA in the bullpen.
Oh, well, okay, that's true. But you know, DD is on and Bryce Harper. You know, we were talking about people who were going to benefit from not having fans. Bryce Harper is all of a sudden looking like everything I ever thought he was.
I can't stomach him. I can't stomach him.
I know you don't like him, but you know, I have a thing for players like him. So you know, yes, he's full of himself, but you know, he goes out there and backs it up, and
he does.
You know, he really is a 5-tool player in every sense of the word, and you know, he's finally making himself worth that contract a little bit.
Yeah.
So when he finally gets his dream and gets signed by the Yankees, you know, it'll be a really good day for that. But,
well, I will say this to you: as 2015, Bryce Harper comes to the dish against Hansel Robles in that game that's on SNY right now.
Mm-hmm.
He will never be Mike Trout. He will never be Mike Trout.
Yeah.
Did you see what he's done since he came back from paternity?
Well, apparently once that weight's off your shoulders, you know, it's
7 bombs in 8 games.
Yeah. Yeah.
And the one he hit the right center, he was the first one he hit when he came back. He's running around the bases, and he points. They put a cardboard cutout of the baby on the third baseline. So I'm going to ask you a loaded question. You just mentioned his name.
Mm-hmm.
We're talking about lengthening the Yankee lineup.
Right.
How bad do your boys miss Didi Gregorius right now?
Well, of course he's missed. Not only because of, you know, his hitting and his defense, which are great, but you know, he's just such a good teammate. You know, I don't know if you follow his Twitter at all, but
no, I don't. People tell me he's a follow worth it.
It's worth a follow just because after every game he never talks about himself, even if he wins the game. All he does he's like Nick Swisher was back in the back around 2009 2010. All he does is pump up even if they lose, all he does is pump up the teammates. He gives everyone their own emoji. Now he's an artist. He's like a tattoo artist now. He's just a really great guy to have around. So yeah, he's missed, but you know, number one, where was he going to play? And number two, you got to spend that money on Garrett Cole. I mean, you just have to.
I don't disagree with you on that. I will say this. As I watch Harper get thrown out of that game in 2015. I love it.
Yeah.
I will say this. You were talking about Torres finally coming around?
Yeah.
Bet you he doesn't have to come around if he's not playing shortstop.
Maybe.
When we talked that night in the parking lot, I said that was my one concern with Gleyber Torres. When you moved him to the more defensively demanding position, and you had to because Urshela is so good.
Yeah. I mean, that was the whole thing, because if you kept Didi, then where is LeMahieu going to play? Where is Torres going to play? You know, and you can move them to first, but then where's Luke Voigt going to play? And then you can move him to DH, but then where's Stanton going to play?
That Stanton contract is like a weight on your neck.
Well, I mean, I think Miami picked up a bunch of that money, so it's not that bad.
I mean the player, not just the dollars.
I agree.
Because now you can't have that flexibility to have the better. Your lineup would be better with Didi than Stanton, who's never there.
True. Um, and I still say I know we've had this discussion elsewhere. I still say to this day that he's going to be unloaded somewhere. Someone like that contract. LA will pay that money, and that's where he wants to go anyway.
Yeah, I can see Artie Moreno paying that money before I can see the Dodgers paying that money.
Either way, he wants to go back to California. So,
yeah, I tell you what, you stick him in a lineup with Trout, Ohtani, and Ren. No one remembers Anthony Rendon's in Anaheim, and you stick him in that lineup with Rendon and Trout and Pujols and Ohtani-san. Oh my God!
Yeah,
that's not even fair.
Yeah, but again, it's all can he stay on the field? So,
yeah, that's anything with. You know what?
He's another one. He's another big guy. He's what 6'6", 6'7" himself.
He had a scholarship to play tight end at USC, and he went to play baseball instead.
Right. And I don't know if you've seen him this year. He dropped about 30 pounds. He
slimmed down.
It was just it's just one of those freak running injuries, and the legs. The legs are the first thing to go. I mean. That's what killed Mantle's career. The guy whose shirt I'm wearing right now.
Oh, is that Mickey?
It is. I'm not going to turn around, but yeah, it's a Mantle shirt.
Mets against the world.
Well, it does seem that way sometimes, doesn't it?
It seems that way all the time.
Right.
With all the teams I root for, except for Ohio State,
who isn't even playing this year.
Don't get me started on that one.
Right.
Because the Big Ten commissioner's son is playing at Mississippi State, but he won't let the boys in that conference play.
Well, I mean, that's a whole nother discussion.
Yeah, we'll do that. We'll do that closer to the fall.
Right.
So the rest of the season, we are what? Mets we're 25 games in.
I think the Yankees are. Yeah, I think they're 25 games in. They're 16-9. So yeah.
Okay, so they're 25 games in. Mets are 24 games in. Right. 25th. What do you see for the next 35 for your boys?
Well, I mean, I know you're gonna hate to hear this, but I mean, they're hitting those pitchers that you guys are throwing at us right now. It's gonna seem like it's gonna be a weight off the Yankees' shoulders. And it could be any team right now. It could be
as long as it's not Tampa.
Yeah, exactly. You could throw maybe not the Astros because they'd want to murder them, but
that'd be a fight.
Yeah, you could throw Oakland. I'll pick the best team in the American League right now. You could throw.
Who saw that coming?
Yeah. You could throw Oakland at them right now, and they'll just be happy not to see that, navy and blue uniform out there. So, you got the 2 or 3, whatever they decide to do against New York. I'm sure that maybe they take 2. Depends on how the Lugo start goes. Lugo is the kind of pitcher who will give them fits. And then Atlanta can go either way, although they took care of Atlanta pretty well.
Yeah, without Soroka, Atlanta's gonna have a hard time.
Yeah. And then it's 3 more with the Mets. I can see them taking 20 out of those 35. The way they've been playing, like I said, 15-3. If you take out Tampa.
So you think of 36-24, do you think that wins the East?
I don't think it matters. I think it gets them into the playoffs, and that's.
Well, yeah, I'm just asking you. Do you think it wins them the East to where they get the bye?
I don't know. It depends. It depends on what. It depends on if this is Tampa or if they've just struck lightning for a 2-week stretch.
Okay.
Because we've all seen this out of Tampa before. 1,000 times. They go on this crazy tear, and then,
they go ice cold.
Then they vanish, yeah. Or they hit the playoffs and they get destroyed.
They get hood stomped, yeah.
Right. So it all depends on what Tampa we get from here on out. If it's this Tampa team and they have enough gas in the tank, all these pitchers, then Tampa is going to win the East without a problem. If it's normal Tampa, then maybe and we'll have to see the next series, because the next time the Yankees play Tampa, they should have LeMahieu back. They should have Judge back. They should have a full team back. They might not have, but they should have their full roster. Because I think you missed. They probably lost about 5 or 6 hits, maybe more from DJ at the top of the lineup, which might have made all the difference.
Yeah, and like I had said,
you look at who they threw out. Aaron Hicks to lead off, didn't really work so well. He's not a leadoff hitter.
Many strikeouts. They
put Voit there one day, and even though he hit a home run, he's not a leadoff hitter. That's long past Gardner's game now. The only leadoff hitter they have, maybe Mike Tauchman, but he's so young. But without LeMahieu, they have no. You're starting out with 1 out.
Yeah.
Every game.
Yeah, and with all the strikeouts in that lineup, you can't do that.
Right, and not having Judge there, it puts more pressure on Voit. It puts more pressure on Torres. It puts more pressure on everybody. And some people, Clint Frazier seems to have risen to it. But other guys, they're just not that guy. And like I said, it'll be interesting to see when they have all the weapons at their disposal at the stadium next time.
Yeah, that'll definitely be something to see.
And possibly fans. They have supposedly a plan after Labor Day, if it's approved. I don't know if Andy Cuomo will do it.
I don't think Andy's going to do it.
I'm still waiting for him to open us back up. Although he did mention us yesterday.
Oh, good.
Yeah. He said that we're probably not us personally, but movie theaters. I don't think he knows what NCG Cinema is, but.
You're the only one in New York. I don't think you know.
We are the only one in New York, yes. Only one in the Northeast. Forget about New York. I
understand where your headquarters is, but that's just me personally.
Well, it's not exactly near the big house. It's more central Michigan. But,
as the song goes, we don't give a damn for the whole.
Yeah. It's I told you about my Lansing story, but
yes, you did.
Anyway, so the one thing about this whole disaster of 2020, what baseball has kind of taught us is that because of the way you play baseball, no one's gotten it on the field yet.
Yeah.
Everyone's gotten it by, quite frankly, pretty much being stupid.
Agreed.
So, yeah, those Indians players, they will.
And on top of that, never mind the pandemic, never mind any of this stuff. Their teammate just came back from having leukemia.
Right.
The level of stupid.
Right. It's, I understand that they're young and they're dumb, and all young people are dumb. Sorry, young people, but you are. So were we.
Yes, very much so.
Some of us,
Some of us hasn't grown out of it.
Absolutely. But then again, we watch the same news programs, so
yeah,
I guess it's not too surprising. But yeah, I mean, you have someone who basically just is probably maybe not lucky to be there, but could have not been there. And for them to just, it's going to take years for them to shake that off, if they ever shake it off.
I don't know. I think
and
Clevenger and Plesac traded.
Yeah, but you never. And the Indians kind of had a shot at this too, so that really surprised me.
Sure, when Minnesota came out swinging the way they've been going, though.
Yeah, I mean, it didn't surprise me as much as St. Louis, because St. Louis runs a really good organization, but that just I don't understand it. Maybe it's and you're gonna think I'm talking out of my what right here. Maybe it's because the way the Yankees run their organization. I just can't imagine it sometimes.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm very spoiled that way, and I understand that completely. And I understand that's a big part of the Mets' animosity towards us.
No.
Yeah, well, okay. Maybe it's not. But
not with me anyway.
Oh, okay. But I just don't get it.
I don't either. I don't either.
And but the fact that it's an open air, maybe you don't see Tampa do this because they're in the dome. But I think your open air stadiums, you might be able to figure out. Then again, Tampa's in Florida, so. But
so is Miami.
Yeah, right. So I'm saying there might be a chance. We'll have to see.
That'd be nice. As far as the Mets go for the next bit of the sprint,
right?
I'll be honest with you. My father kind of mentioned this in passing, I'm pretty sure, and they mentioned it on the broadcast. This season, the National League East is shaping up a lot like 1973.
Yeah.
No one's going after it. No one's setting themselves apart. They all have their issues. It's got to take that one hot streak. And listen, you're talking about a lineup that 1 through 9 now with the DH. And in the middle, you can have guys like Conforto, Velasco, Cano, Davis, Andres Jimenez, who, by the way, mark my words right now, will be the Met leadoff hitter opening day 2021, and he'll be playing shortstop.
Okay.
I found it very ironic that on the day Jose Reyes retired, the newest young phenom shortstop for the Mets hit a booming triple to right center field and was just gone. But the problem with the Mets will and forever be the bullpen until they fix it. I don't know if it's going to take A-Rod buying the team to fix it. I don't know if it's going to take these guys figuring out that if all they have to do is pitch to the back of their baseball card, and this team is pretty well-rounded. I did this math. Scary. You ready for this? They blew 27 saves last year. They keep half of them. The world champions aren't in the playoffs.
Right.
They save half of those games. The Mets win the National League East going away.
Now, what are some of the contracts like with these guys? I know they signed DeGrom.
Cespedes is off.
Okay.
Cano's till 24. Cespedes.
I don't care about your hitters. Hitters aren't going to win this team ball games.
Pitchers?
Yes.
DeGrom is signed long term. They have control over Mats till after next season. If I had to bet, they're going to re-sign Marcus Stroman.
Okay.
Solo signed a 2-year deal. They have control over Lugo. They have control over Gesellman. Familia's under contract. They still have control over Diaz, even though I don't want him anywhere near this team ever again.
What about Thor?
Thor, they have control through next year.
Okay.
And they will re-sign Thor. Especially if your boy buys a team, because he loves him some Noah Syndergaard. And if Stevie Cohen buys a team, you'll see Lindor in a Met uniform faster in your head it's been.
Yeah. And you'd give up. What would you do with the other shortstop? Move him to second, or?
I'd move Jimenez to second. I'd make Jeff McNeil a corner outfielder, because Michael Conforto is a must, an absolute must. If they sign Lindor, and there's a party that doesn't want him to. I love when they build from within. If you look at Game 5 of the World Series in 2015, you want to know when you went to the final 9 guys on the field. You know how many weren't in the Met organization or made their major league debut with the Mets? 1, Curtis Granderson. And who, by the way, everyone adores.
Yeah.
I loved that. I absolutely loved that. I saw who was on the field and I went, wow, these guys put together a pretty good roster from within.
Yeah.
So
Granderson's a classy guy.
Oh, I miss him.
Yeah.
I miss him.
Big wrestling fan too. Big wrestling.
So basically, if the Mets can get hot, we saw what they could do when they got hot last year with that incredible run from basically the end of July through the beginning of September. They can win this division. Who knows? Marcus Stroman might opt back in, just like Marte. At that point in time, now you really have to give them a leg up.
I asked Rob this, so I'll ask you the same thing. Do you think Stroman was actually concerned, or did he just think this is just the way this team is playing? We have no shot, and I just want no part of it.
I think Stroman was concerned.
Really? Okay.
I truly believe that Stroman wants to come back. He's a Long Island boy. I mean, funny thing, the night before he was drafted, you know where he was? Santana's no-hitter.
Oh, wow.
So, yeah, do I think Stroman opted? Do I think his injury had more to do with it than anything else? Yeah, I do. I think the injury, the pandemic, and that's when all the stuff with Miami and St. Louis happened too.
Right.
So, no, I think his opting out was legit. I think Cespedes saw he wasn't going to make his money.
Right.
But listen, I got a World Series run in 2015, which they don't have without him. Right.
Who do you think gives him a shot next year? Someone will. You know someone will.
Honestly?
Yeah.
He'd look real good in Anaheim.
Yeah.
In that line, because he's not the focal point at all.
Right.
That's Trout's team.
Mm-hmm.
He'd look good in Anaheim.
And they have money. I guess they have money everywhere in Anaheim. So.
Artie Moreno's got more money than God.
Yeah. They keep signing people. I don't know where they get it from, but them and the Dodgers they just grow it. I don't.
Here's how they sign everybody. Unlike my boys, yours do this a lot of times. They sell out every night.
Right. Right.
So we're gonna wrap this up. You know, I've been going for almost an hour. So please keep me posted on when you guys are gonna open up.
Well, I mean, it's as you know, it's not up to me. So I won't go too deep into it because it's not that kind of podcast. But you know, I do trust the process. Yes, it's frustrating, but you know, we don't want to be other states, which we have mentioned in this podcast earlier. Mm-hmm. So I'll trust the process, and you know, he just opened up gyms. We can't be that far off now.
No, I agree.
Yeah.
So I'm going to wrap this up by saying thank you again, Jason. It was absolutely
thank you.
Anytime, let me know when you want to come on again. We'll definitely do it.
Right.
I'm going to wrap this up with Jay still on here. As always, Big Rican can be found on Google, Anchor, Spotify, Pocket Cast, Radio Public, and Breaker. Big Rican on Sports on YouTube. So if you're watching, you know where we are. Big Rican on Sports on Facebook and at Big Rican on Sport on Twitter. And check us out on Instagram. I post all the links there too. Everybody have a great rest of your week. I hope to God we get at least 2 of these games this weekend. And I'm going to cut off before you can respond, but let's go, Matt.